Hey everyone and welcome. Today we are diving into the world of AI and building a fun and practical application, a social media caption generator. So this project utilizes Google's generative AI platform and the user-friendly Gradio library to help you create engaging captions for your social media posts based on images and context. It's perfect for busy content creators or anyone who wants to add a creative spark to their social media strategy. This tutorial is part of the Build with AI series by Google Developer Student Clubs. This one is particularly by RV University. So whether you're a seasoned developer or just starting with AI, this video will guide you through every step of the process. So let's jump right in. So what we'll be covering over this is first is the prerequisites that we would be needing to build this particular app. The second is we would need an API key from Gemini, so that will be generating. The third is setting up development environment. The fourth would be to build the model with and basically coding our application. Then we will test it out in our local host and see if everything's good to go. Then we will create a HuggingFace space. This is where we'll be hosting our particular application. Then we'll upload our code and then we'll store the API key so that it is secure. And lastly, we'll deploy and see how well our application is. So the first thing is prerequisites. The first thing that is some basic knowledge of Python is required, but if not, yes, I'll be explaining every part of the code. The second is when you try to generate an API key, you will be prompted to create a Google Cloud account. So please do so. Similarly, when you create a space in Hugging Face, for that as well, you will have to create an account. It's very simple you can use a Gmail. Then you would need some kind of code editor, so like VS Code or for Python, anything else like PyCharm, that would work. It should be installed on your machine. And yeah, for that, you would also need Python and pip install so that whatever packages we are making use of, it will get installed and we can make use of it for our application. So let's get started by getting our Gemini API key. So for that, simply just search up Gemini API key and go to this particular link, get an API key. So this will take you directly to their website. So if it is your first time, you'll be prompted to create an account. But if not, if you have, you just have to sign in. So get an API key, just click on that. It will open you to a new tab which will take you to its AI studio. So yes, so since I've already generated one before, I already have it here. It might be empty for you. So create an API key, just give that, and you would have to select a Google project. You might have to create one if you haven't already, which is pretty easy. You can give my first projects. There will be many available. So I'll just save my first project, and I'll create an API key there. So this would take a few seconds and then you would see that your API key is generated. So just copy that, and now that we have a key, this is what will enable us to make use of Gemini model in our particular application. So let's go ahead to our editor and make use of this. Okay, so now that we are in our editor, here I am making use of VS Code for Python. You can make use of any other editor that you wish, like say PyCharm or anything else. So create a file, so call it app.py, and so the first thing that you need to do is to have these libraries installed. So let's go here. I've listed down in requirements.txt what are the minimum requirements for this particular app. So for you need Google Generative AI. This one is for our Gemini model. Then we need Gradio for the UI elements, and then we would also require python.env. This is to load the environment variables, which I will get to shortly. So now if you want to install these, given that you already have Python and pip, just go open your terminal and give new terminal. It should open up a terminal. So just give pip install and any one of these. So in this case, suppose you want Gradio, just give Gradio and hit enter. It should install it. Sometimes you may have to give admin access, but yeah, otherwise you may not require it. So just do the same for all three. Okay. So now coming back to our app. So now I will explain each section of the code. The first is we need to import whatever we need. Okay, so first is the OS and .env. So OS is for interacting with the operating system. So we need it here for specifically the environment variable. Then Google Generative AI, we are importing it for Gemini. Pathlib is for the image that we are going to give input. You need the path library to access the path of where the image is stored. And then Gradio, we of course require it for our UI. Then I'm going to load .env and I'm going to store the API key, and from we're going to give os.getN API key. Okay, so and then after which you can configure the API key you get. But where is this API key? We need to store it somewhere, right? So the thing about, you can put this in quotes and just blindly put it here, but that could lead to risks, and your API key can be leaked. So what you can do is you can right click over here and add a new file. So just create a .env file like this and then store it here. So I'm going to give API underscore key and I'm going to insert the key that I had created earlier. So this way it's going to load from your env file, and this is going to give you way more security when you say push it on to GitHub or Hugging Face, wherever. So that's our API key. So basically this line will get it from your env file and it will get your API key, and then GenAI.configure will configure it. Okay, now this section of the code is specifically for our model. Let me just resize this. Yes, so these generation config, there are different parameters that you need to pass. So I'll just give you a rough explanation as what do each of them mean. So temperature, it actually ranges between 0 and 1, and it, when you think about it, it is like how random it is supposed to be. So when you say, like, if it's nearer to 1, it means you have more creative output, and if it is nearer to 0, you'll get more concise and balanced values. Then similarly top P and top K. So top P is used to influence which words are more likely to be chosen at each step, and top K is only the K most likely words at each step. Then we have, so this is the main thing, temperature, set it somewhere closer to 1. You can of course play with these values. And the max output tokens, so I'm specifying 4000 here. That means 4000 tokens is max that it can generate. Yeah, you can give whatever you want. So this I'm storing in a dictionary, which I will be passing on later. See if you can see here, I am passing it over here. Then also the safety settings. So there are different safety settings that you can set. That's one advantage of using Gemini. So whether in terms of harassment, hate speech, sexually explicit, dangerous content, so you can keep a threshold. If you feel like the model might give something that has any of these, so if it is rated medium and above, that would be blocked. So your model would not give such outputs. Then I'm going to configure. Now model name is important. So here I'm making use of Gemini Pro Vision. I'm using the Vision model because my input is an image. I want the Vision model to be used over here. You can look at the documentation, make use of other models also depending on your use case. Okay, so now I'm also coming here. So here this part I'm making use of for the image input. So here it basically uses the path, and when we select, if we get a path that is present for the image, if it's not there, it will raise an error, and otherwise it will set these and it will return it. This will be called later on. And another place is this definition is generate Gemini response. So I'll get to this once we see the input. Okay, now I'm also defining an input prompt. I'm giving a base prompt. So this you can tailor it depending on what is your particular use case. Here, since I want to pass an image and I want to get a caption based on it, I have given a pretty elaborate prompt for this. So I'm asking it here to So by the way, I've given 5 that I will show you later on that there is a drop down if you see over here where I'm giving these particular choices like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest. So this whatever is being selected also will be passed, and based on that I'm giving it some guidelines how it's supposed to generate the caption. Okay, so this is my input prompt. Then upload file is to, well, upload your image file. Okay, so now this is where your Gradio takes place. So gr.blocks we are making use of. There are others as well. So if you use chat interface, if you want a chatbot, here I'm just using blocks. So I'm setting the header. I want to call my app Captionify. Then I'm also giving, I want a text input to, if I want to give some additional information, like say I want to give some context, like where was this taken or something like that. If I want to give some additional info, I can give it. Then I'm passing a drop down where it has these 5 values, and I, based on whatever you select here is what you get. So if I gave Instagram, I will get an Instagram caption. Okay, now sometimes I'm not satisfied with say one caption. I want like say at least 2 3 examples or how many. So that for that I'm using gr.number. Okay, then gr.image is for basically an image to display it. So your upload button here will input the image. I've given the file type as image, and yes, I can give even multiple images also. So yeah, and then that image will be displayed over here. And then when this button button generate, when that is triggered, that's when the it will be triggered. I've also created a file output here, which is a text box that will display my output from the model. So I'm creating a small process generate here, which basically passes everything that I've gotten here as input, and I'm going to be calling the upload button when they are triggered, when generate button dot click is triggered. So then it will call this particular function, which is generate Gemini response. So here the input prompt will be given, my text input will be given, the image location will be given, and this is basically where it's getting called model.generate response, generate content. So this will call to the Gemini model, and this is what is going to get our output. And whatever response I get from it, dot text is what I'm going to return, and this will be displayed in your file output. And yeah, demo.launch debug equal to true. So this will launch your particular Gradio file. So this is for the code. I hope it was clear so far. If not, just rewind it. This code will be available on GitHub also. I will link it in the description. So now that the code is ready, so let me run my code here. Once I do that, so you can see in the output, it will take a few seconds, and I should be getting a link to my local host, which should show me my application. So this is taking some time, but yes, you will get a local host link. Yes, here that you get HTTP, this particular one. So just copy it and open it on your browser. So now that I've opened it on my browser, I can see that the text box is displayed here. Sorry, that this is the label. The text box is here to give additional information. Here I can specify what kind of social media platform. I can also give a numeric value of how many captions or posts I want. So I may leave these blank for now and see if I can upload an image, and also if I'm able to get it. So yes, I've uploaded an image, and as you can see, this was something that I took on a holiday about a couple of months ago. Let's see if it's able to generate for this. Let me give generate, and this would take a few seconds, about 10 seconds maybe. So yeah, as you can see here, since I've not given, it's generated for every particular social media platform. And what amazes me is that I have not given any context yet. and it was spot on as to where this was taken. This was indeed the Hooghly River at Kolkata, and it's given me great captions whether for whichever platform. Now suppose say I want to do it for me, I'll give some context. Okay, like say holiday with family at Kolkata. I will select maybe say I want to give it on Twitter, and I want an example of maybe 4. So let me generate it again. This will take some time, but yes. Yeah, as you can see, 4 examples have been generated here for Twitter that I can put up. And yes, it's amazing to see how well advanced this model is. So now that we have our app ready and it works well on localhost, can I deploy it somewhere? So yes, I'm going to be making use of HuggingFace Spaces. Just search up HuggingFace Spaces and let me create a space here. So you will have to have a HuggingFace account first, for which you can just register using your email ID. I already have that, so I have my profile here. So you can see there are amazing spaces. These are public ones created by numerous people. You can give it a try yourself. But now let's create a new space for our particular project. So just give create new space. Okay, so now give a space name. So I'm going to give Captionify because that's the name of my app. Okay, you don't have to specify a license. Here please give Gradio because we have made use of Gradio. If you have made use of Streamlit, you can use that. I'm going to go with blank, leave everything else as it is by default, and I'm going to create this space. Now that our space has been created, it gives you instructions on how to create a basic Gradio app.py file and how to push it here. So it's very simple. Because we have only one file, let us upload it manually. So I'll go to files and here I'm going to upload our app.py. So already if you see there is get attributes and there will be a readme file as well, as you can see here. Okay, so now let's upload our file. So at add file you can either create a new file, but let's just go back. So here I'm going to choose upload file. So as you can see here, it's asking to drag and drop. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I will also add the requirements.txt here just for information. It's not mandatory. Okay. Yes. So now I will commit these changes to mail. Yes, it has been added successfully. So now one thing that is remaining though is we did not push our env file because we want, like I mentioned, we didn't want it to be exposed, right, by hard coding it. So we need to set this somewhere in a secure manner. So this is where we're going to make use of Hugging Face secrets, and I'm going to show you that immediately how to do the same. So just head over to settings of our, so as you can see the settings for Captionify, you can change these if you want. I'm going to leave these as it is. So go down and yes, you have variables and secrets, right? So go to secrets. So and now I'm going to create a new secret. So this will be private only to you. Give API underscore key, which is the variable name that you give exactly what is there in your particular code. If you use some other variable name, use that over here. And then you can give your particular value, and which I'm going to take from here. I'm going to place it here. Okay. And then yes, you can save it. So yes, it's been updated, and yeah, as you can see your app is building. So once this changed to running, so you can view this using this particular URL. So this will take some time. So now that if you go to the link, in my case it's Duty Ramesh and Captionify. So in your space, this URL is actually public. So anybody can view this. So now that it's online, our particular app, so let's see if it works out to be the same as what we saw in our local host, right? So everything else looks the same. As you can see, I've uploaded this time a different image that I took in my recent trip. So let's see if this works. So here, let me set maybe LinkedIn, and I want to say 3. Let's generate, and let's see if that comes. So yes, online it does take quite some time, but yes, it will work and you will get it. Yes, so I can see I've gotten 3 captions that I could put if I'm posting the same thing on LinkedIn. And yes, it has correctly recognized that this is the Victoria Memorial. So this brings us to the end of our tutorial. So please feel free to experiment with different prompts and platforms. So here I've made use of social media generator. You can use it for something else. I was inspired actually by a first aid app at the Build with AI event by GVG at Bangalore. So you can also use it for something else. So try to see how far you can get creative with this.
Thank you for watching.